Greetings, Ayya. Greetings to everyone. Oh, so nice to see Sharon.
Yes, welcome to Mananaya, Mary, Morgan, Sharon, and Shweta, who's came all the way from India to join us. I'm going to warn in advance that the Hermitage has a very poor quality internet signal because they're in the forest. And so if they drop and come back or turn off the picture, it's because of the small bandwidth that they have. Welcome to Barbara.
Greetings, Barbara. Very nice to see you. Greetings, Ananda.
Lovely to be with you.
Mary. And greetings, Shweta. Namo Buddhaya.
Well, now is the time to offer a brief chanting of our evening puja. I welcome you all to chant along softly, and because of the delay, it's hard to be completely in harmony.
Okay.
The purpose of chanting is for your own heart, not to make a choral performance.
Okay.
So I'm going to share the words so that all of us can join in this. You sit by me for the chanting? Here, so you can be in the pic. Your voice can be heard. Three times to the Buddha that you can see. Yoso Bhagavan Arahang Sambuddho Svakato Yena Bhagavata Supakipana Bhagavato Akasangho Dhammayang Bhagavantang Sadhammang Sasanghang Ime Sakare Hiyatarahang Aropite Habipujayama Sadhuno Bhamte Bhagava Sukchira Parinimbutopi Pamchima janata nukampamanasa ime sakare dungatapamna karabhute partinganhatu amhakam dikaratam hitaya sukhaya sadhuno bhamte bhagavam Sukhira parinimbutopi pamchima janata nukampamanasa ime sakavem dungatapanna karabhute patingam hatu. Sorry. Amhakam dikaratam hitaya sukhaya arahang samma sambuddho bhagavam buddham bhagavantam abhivademi. Svakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami. Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Sangham Namami. Handamayang buddhasa bhagavato pumbha bhaganamakaram karomase mutasa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear friends, we shall sit together in silent meditation for 20 minutes, simply doing the meditation practice that has been the best for you, looking for that tranquility, clarity, and peace of mind, that space where it's possible for insight to arise. So coming to meditation now. Well, finally, after 5 Uposatha days of listening to Ayya Tathaloka, you will be able to hear the voices of other bhikkhunis and monastics and members of our community. I'm going to call on Ayya Tathaloka to offer some reflection. She has been in complete silence on her secluded portion of her retreat for the past 3 weeks. So we expect a very deep teaching from her. Then after that, we're going to invite other monastics to speak. So like sometime sort of a panel discussion among the Dhammadharini monastics. And then after that, I'm going to invite our other lay residents and yourselves who have been joining and participating online to have some conversation. The question is what we've gained from this retreat, and if there's anything in particular that we might feel gratitude or appreciation for. So with that, one technical point, could you turn on your sound so you can listen on your computer? I'll invite Ayya Tathaloka to speak.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo Rathanataya. My homage to all the jewels of the Buddha, the true Dhamma, and the noble Sangha. So this will be the first time that I'm speaking in the past 3 weeks of blessed, silent, secluded retreat time here at Aranya Bodhi Hermitage at Freedom Kuti. Although there have been notes and daily written notes. It's of enormous benefit to have such time to contemplate the teachings internally and externally, and to daily listen to the Dhamma. There's really nothing like it. I want to appreciate each and every one, those near to me here and those farther away, who have contributed to and supported this rare and precious island in the myriad eons of this great samsara. My contemplations are not all done yet. It's not all neatly wrapped up. The work goes on as we're amidst the great process of the unfolding of the path. I see, beginning to look at messages, that the struggles and issues of the world have gone on, as it seems, without a break in the world meanwhile. But of course, my own personal experience has been different than that. And I know that this has been true in many other places as well. For wherever there's Dhamma, and wherever there are keen and contemplative human minds and hearts attending to this path, there are breaks, both long and short breaks, both great and small. We know that in the thick of samsara, when there's suffering, when there's stress, that even a short break is such a relief, such a relief. In the earlier period, in the first 2 months of our retreat, due to a tenacious infection that I came down with, not COVID, I was at our monastery where also we experienced the samsara dukkha that we called the mold mouse madness. After the first week, there were mice, there was mold, the power went out, the insurance was being canceled. The people who I cared about were dying. Naturally, intuitively, I fell into Maranasati, death contemplation practice, also known as mindfulness of death. It's wonderful how when we practice with Dhamma and cultivate and develop what the Buddha recommended to cultivate and develop, bhavana, over the years, when circumstances arise, then the matching Dhamma teaching, the well-matching Dhamma teaching and practice for that time, for that moment, for these moments, for that situation, for this situation, also arises. It wasn't even intentional, it just arose. And I stayed with this, Maranasati, death contemplation, actively engaged and interested in this bhavana. Then I injured my back and the axle broke on our old Subaru Forester, Heart of Gold. And there were more deaths of those I've been close to. I stayed with it, such valuable time and practice. When finally I was able to return to our hermitage, I joked that now the rains will come, as it had been so sunny and warm and beautiful. And indeed they did come, softly and gently and regularly. And then the day after the completion of my originally scheduled full, silent, secluded retreat time, there was a full, drenching rain. Everything was so well prepared and everything was drenched. I was very happy about this. Happy for all the plants, trees, and animals and the earth. For the human beings, we should behave wisely. Meanwhile, here and now in the forest, during these past 3 weeks of silent, secluded retreat time, every day, generally several times a day, I listened to and contemplated the Nibbana sermons. Often I could not listen to much before I would just need to stop and contemplate that teaching. So I would contemplate and then listen again and again. Some of you may know that back in the first Vasa that Ayya Dhammadharini Vihara in the San Francisco East Bay, we listened to the original English recordings of the Nibbana sermons by the Most Venerable Katu Kurinde Nyanananda Thero during the Vasa. In the years since, for 10 years, in my personal retreat time, I would read and contemplate the Nibbana sermons alone in the kuti at night for my Dhamma contemplation. When I finally had a chance to visit Sri Lanka a few years ago, some friends, hearing about this, brought us to visit the master, that is, the Venerable Katu Kurinde Nyanananda Bhikkhu, in his forest hermitage, Aranya Senasanam. A friend, a supporter, who helped with his publications, offered us lodgings in the outskirts of Anuradhapura in a bhavana kuti that had been offered to him in past times. I stayed during the retreat time there in what had been his retreat room. He was still alive during that time. Later, I happened to arrive back in Colombo at the time he came to Colombo to hospital and passed away in the early morning. Later that morning, friends brought us to his wake in Colombo, where I had a couple of hours opportunity to practice death contemplation together during this time of great transition. Profound moments of Dhamma teaching in this lifetime. Just being there together in meditation. It's been a treasure this year to be able to share these teachings and Venerable Bhikkhu Analayo's teachings on them and the related sutta teachings of the Buddha with my Dhammadharini community here and with our greater community. And with so many resources available, print, audio, video, and the comparative perspective on the suttas that Venerable Analayo contributed, many of the deep, profound, and subtle topics that I've heard come up among dedicated practitioners around the world over the years in this path of practice are touched on in such important and valuable ways, worthy of deep and serious contemplation and investigation to understand for ourselves. I have to speak to how conducive the forest and kuti environment here at our Aranya Bodhi Hermitage was for practice and contemplation. This is tremendously fortunate. We know there is drought. We know there have been wildfires. Thousands of the 10 oak trees here in these woods have fallen from California's sudden oak death. And our own bodily health cannot last. We don't know how long we'll have this precious opportunity that's been offered to us by the meritorious donors. We only know that we have this now. Entering silent, secluded retreat here 3 weeks ago. I had the definite thought, to the end. Your work in this world is done. Now is the time for finishing whatever business you have left here with whatever hours or days you have left. Now, we could say this is a kind of dramatic thinking, but it wasn't like that. It was very calm and practical and rose to mind without any calling it up. Not like telling oneself something, but more like something deep within oneself or within the world telling one, when one stops to listen and be present. It's very important for us to do this, to stop, to listen deeply, and to be present. There's so much that becomes clear by itself when we stop and become still and attentive. As Ajahn Brahm is fond of saying, when we set the glass of water down, it becomes still by itself. Or as Ajahn Chah would say, when we come to sit still by the clear forest pool, then we see the coming and going of all beings and of all things clearly as they rise and cease. In such time and space, when we have stopped, it's much easier to see and understand things. Even what we don't know, we can see and know much more clearly, without confusion. In Venerable K. Nyanananda's teaching, he turns back to the 4 Imponderables also called the four negations, again and again. These are so valuable. They're so valuable in that we can start to turn and see the way we've got our jaws clamped on things, our mental jaws, and start to tentatively release them. And then to release them more. And releasing more, we experience the freedom. The following are the words of Ajahn Chah, composed by Dhamma Sister Maranasati for the 2022 New Year. I heard this in January as we entered into our Western New Year and began our retreat. And as many of you know, we're now moving into the time of the Astro-Solar New Year of the Theravada Buddhist peoples of South and Southeast Asia. Others here who know this are welcome to join in with me. I've been silent. I don't know if I'll be able to catch the tune. I'll try. And Venerable Kachayana will place this in the chat. So while you're muted, you're welcome to join in together if you'd like, and you'll have it for later. Let go a little, and you'll have a little peace. Let go a lot, and you'll have a lot of peace. Let go completely, and you'll have complete peace. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Shall we try one more time? Join me. Let go a little, and you'll have a little peace. And peace. Let go completely, and you'll have complete peace. We didn't practice this before at all. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Let go. Releasing more, we experience the freedom, and more and more freedom. Freedom and spaciousness and ease. The freedom, spaciousness, and ease of what is unconstructed. This is most wonderful and refreshing. The pure mountain air is refreshing. The deep night sky, clean, clear spring water is refreshing. The deep and ringing silence is refreshing. Also because of the absence of pollutants, the absence of things to distract us or block us from experiencing this refreshment. Likewise in our minds and hearts, which are always with us. things to distract us or block us, there is such experience. How wonderful and amazing that is to be a human being, and that this is possible. I wish that many people, many more people, had much more opportunity to experience this for themselves. We don't know how long we'll have these conditions that we do now in human life, having a human body and mind, awareness, and the Dhamma available as it is now to us. Please avail yourselves of this opportunity as much as possible. It all passes by very fast. At the end of our lives, it seems as if life has flashed by in an instant. Thank you very much with Punya Anumodhana to everyone who has offered all the material requisites, the food, medicines, robes, and lodgings, the satellite internet, and the computer, and the insurance, and to all who have offered all of the Dhamma and Vinaya requisites, the teachings, the mentorship and guidance, the Dhamma friendship and camaraderie, the moral support, to each and everyone, to all who have contributed. May you know and experience the rightful merits and rewards of your offerings. May the goodness that you have gained not be lost. May it be applied as wise ones do, investing these rewards into what is of most worth and value. Amhakam Dikaratam Utaya Sukhaya. And for myself, I dedicate all of the merits back into the endless, breathless, deathless, Paramasunyam and Paramasukham, that is the highest emptiness and the highest happiness of Nibbana. Etam Santam, Etam Panitam, Sabhasankara Samato, Sabha Upadi, Patinisago, Tanha Kayo, Virago, Nirodho, Nibbana. This is peaceful. This is excellent. Sadhu. 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 Anumodana.
Thank you for that wonderful reflection, Ayya. I don't feel that I ought to say very much since I have been speaking, and those who have been on the journey with me through the video might have noticed that my new slogan is Dhammanu Dhamma Patipatiya Buddham Dhammang Sanghang Nasami Pujami. So by practicing the entire Dhamma, this was the great gift of the Nibbana sermons, was to take the practice that we have of the Eightfold Noble Path and put it clearly into the context of that liberating insight that would arise to convert from the ordinary level to a noble level that leads to the freedom, tranquility, and awakening to that final peace, to Nibbana. There's a poem in the suttas comparing different factors to carriage. And it says, the different parts of the carriage got different meanings. But at the end it says that whoever uses this carriage will come close to Nibbana. And so the carriage is a metaphor for the Eightfold Path which is what brings us up to the entrance of Nibbana, but not through the gate. And so having this perspective of what is through the gate, what our orientation is, gives a wonderful motivation for urgency, not to let our energy go down, not to become a lazy Buddhist, but instead to be an enthusiastic and inspired Buddhist as much as possible. During this time at the Hermitage, even more so, every year is better than the year before. This year we commented on how in our meditation hall from before 5 o'clock in the morning until the evening, any time of the day, you would be likely to find one or two people sitting in silent meditation in our meditation hall. So this room is blessed with so much power of practice. We had the two Sayales visiting from Texas who were good meditators, and the seminary Dhammadharini, and our Uposatha Morgan, who will be speaking soon. And this was just a wonderful boon. For myself, I found that in order to get on board with the teachings offered in the Nibbana sermons, what helped me the most was every single time that the Venerable Nyanananda cited or quoted from a sutta, I would go and look up that sutta and read the entire sutta. Maybe he was just quoting one sentence, but I would see if I could put those into the context. And I was building up a resource list. I was cutting and pasting and having the sutta references all together, so that then he was just doing this from his memory. It's so amazing the facility that he had to take themes from multiple different sutta sources and then integrate them together into a new and creative synthesis. And then he would frequently be coming back again and again to the same powerful, important sutta teachings, coming with a slightly different angle on it, or a slightly deeper or different aspect of that one teaching that he wanted to bring out. So it was, this has been a real a boon to me, both for my enthusiasm for this practice, as well as having a lot of wonderful resources to continue working with in the coming year. Besides all of the wonderful practical events that Ayya Tathaloka mentioned, such as insurance and mice and those kinds of things, I had a personal project during this retreat. We got some great massive redwood timber and a massive slab of redwood from a local lumber yard. It was harvested in a responsible way from the local forest. And then I taught myself enough carpentry to cut them up and to fabricate a strong altar table that's going to be used in our new outdoor pavilion to hold the main Buddha statue. And so I have been out there with my learning how to use different power tools, but getting my hands, physically connected. And perhaps thinking, may this table be able to support the Buddha statue, and may I be able to also support the Dhamma. And I think that's enough for me, and I would like to call on Ayya Kachayana if they would like to say a few words.
Thank you, Ayya. So during this winter retreat time, I have had the benefit of being in the forest the entire time. I think I'm actually the only one who has been here the entire time. There's been this constantly shifting crew of people out here, sort of these lovely stewards who have been supporting me and my livelihood out here and taking care of the forest with me. Had just 2 or 3 different people at a time, and they've kind of shifted. And just these past few weeks, I finally have some monastic companions also in the forest. But for the first couple months, it was me and these wonderful lay people who have come. And I guess my Dhamma reflection is, it is Dhamma Nutama, Dhamma in accord with the Dhamma, more in the meaning of in accord with than, Sobana is talking about totality and going all the way and Nibbana and all of these things. But I think in accord with is also just seeing whatever arises and responding to those conditions as they come up, and finding what is the Dhamma that is here now with this in this circumstance. So we were finding with the people here that the Dhamma that we wished to be practicing together, at least in the first couple months, was the Brahmaviharas, starting with metta, but also really practicing all 4 Brahmaviharas of kindness and compassion and appreciation and equanimity. And it was just seeming like with the people that we had here, that was what was needed. And that was what we wanted to develop together as our little hermitage community. And I think, a lot of it came to equanimity. It's like we started out with metta, and that was great, but everyone was just sort of drawn to this equanimity practice, which we approached in a number of different ways. But I think especially helpful was contemplating the elements. And out in the forest, you have a lot of contact with the elements, going, just walking on the earth and breathing the air and seeing the water fall from the sky and fire. We've been doing a lot of controlled burns here, or with the help of one of our neighbors who's been coming to do some work on the land. So many trees have fallen, it has gotten sort of, it's built up, all these branches and fallen trees all over the place. And we know that that's a risk in the case of a wildfire. And so we've been, little by little, last year we hired people with chippers and 10-person crews to come out and clear a number of things. And this winter we've been just slowly, steadily doing these little burns. And so I spent a lot of time this winter sitting and staring at fires, watching them like throughout the afternoon, and sometimes into the night, especially if there's a windy night, getting up and checking on the fire and just sitting and watching and seeing trees turn to ash, and just getting to know the fires, getting to know how they behave in different weather conditions, getting to, see how the structure of the tree is still there. Like you can see the veins and things, even in the ash. And when you have high winds coming and you haul up a load of water and you pour that on the fire to put it out, so there aren't sparks, then seeing like lava, just the change, the change there. And there's something very calming about it, to sit there and just watch that process of a very fast decay in a way, but also a very slow, it's not, it's not instantaneous. It takes hours, but it only takes hours to reduce a whole tree just to a pile of white ash. Get a feel for it. You get a feel for sitting on the earth and watching that. And, in the contemplation of the elements, you're invited to consider how your own body internally is made of the same stuff. Cremation, if you put a body on a fire, it will behave the same way. Maybe not precisely, maybe there's a little more moisture in there that needs to sizzle off, something like that. But basically it's the same stuff. It's all just matter. And when you can get a hold of that perception of it all just being matter, then that is one way that equanimity can arise, just being sort of steady and present and like, oh yeah, it's made of this stuff. It's not special. And I don't need to worry about it quite so much. And equanimity is one of those states that is close to Nibbana. It's the final in the list of the 7 enlightenment factors, the things that you develop in order to allow the breakthrough to awakening. And so even if we were not as directly focused on the Nibbana sermons, I still feel like this is in accord with the Dhamma, that it is starting where we are and looking at our conditions and our environment and leading towards what is conducive to waking up, what is conducive to Nibbana, what is conducive to peace. So that's my reflection on practice during this time, and I have appreciated having all my companions here, and I've also appreciated having the every couple weeks check in with all of you out there, and it's been good to have see these faces again and again popping up as fellow practitioners. So I think I'll stop there. Everyone.
Gratitude is filling my heart this evening. I was asked to speak just not that long ago, and I just feel so grateful for the time to have been here to practice, for the supporters and friends that came up every week and nourished us physically with their food, spiritually, with their just inspiration of just supporting us and being here with us. Gratitude for the teachings, and having an earlier conversation with Ayya Tathaloka about how this came to be, but gratitude for this hall. And I had asked her how it was this year that we got to use the hall. Night stays, it was just available and warm. And she said, for the first time, she admitted it was her decision for us to be able to have the hall heated. And that made such a huge difference, to have a space to come in, to sit down, to be quiet, to reflect, to read the Nibbana sermons. And I also noticed that as we had the Siles and also Morgan here, we didn't organize anything, but so many mornings, even before 5 o'clock, we would all be here just sitting. Evenings, just about every evening, we just gathered and we sat. And it was inspiring and it was beautiful to have a community form within the community. And it was so nourishing to have that. So deeply, it fulfilled the hunger I didn't know I had to be in that environment. So much gratitude for Ayya Tathaloka and that wise decision for us to have the hall available for us to have a place. So just gratitude for it all, and deepest gratitude to Ayya Tathaloka. Thank you so much. Thank you. Good to see everybody.
Now I shall call on Samaneri Tavira.
Yeah, similar to Novice Dhammavara, feeling a lot of gratitude and really appreciating what a privilege it is to be able to withdraw and separate ourselves from the world in the way that we have. And I don't know, I think some samsara in the world are always incredibly difficult. I don't know that they're more difficult now than they ever are, but it just feels like every little hint I would hear of what was going on out there, it's just really hard. And just really appreciating the opportunity to separate ourselves from that, not in a sense of wanting to be isolated, but in a sense of giving us that more protected space to really cultivate something that's different, and then be able to share that. And we've had wonderful people with us over winter retreat, and then those of you online, and just aware that this time and this ability to cultivate this really then keeps kind of rippling outwards. And also really seeing, I don't know, maybe 6 months, just like, I'm really happy. like there's obviously still dukkha, but just understanding what an incredible opportunity I have here to practice, and to have such wonderful, incredible teachers that just absolutely exemplify exactly the things I'm wanting to develop, and to be surrounded by people who are all so different from each other, but all practicing so sincerely. And just what a wonderful environment that is, and hoping that we can sharing that with all that we come into contact with. So much gratitude for the opportunity and for ever and make it possible in all of the ways that you do.
I don't mean to put Morgan and Kim on the spot, but I'm going to give them their minute if they would like to offer a comment or a reflection on this occasion. There you are, you're in the picture.
gratitude is very on point to what I'm feeling. And my time here has been about service has been a big part, not just service to those around me, but also service to myself, and trying to find a balance of a place of selflessness that's also that also isn't neglectful of my well-being. And I came here to figure out what being the monastic life is like, and whether or not I would enjoy it. And well, I think I would, and there's things that I need to do first, but I thought I would get a dose of reality because I was romanticizing it in my mind, but and I have gotten a dose of reality, and I still seem to manage to romanticize it in my mind. So maybe maybe that's a good thing. Yeah. Thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I'm going to call on Kim, and then after that, how long we go on depends on how talkative you are out there in cyberspace. I'd sort of had a flexible idea that between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, we would definitely wrap up this evening's program. But I invite Kim to share, and then we'll open up for other comments.
Hi, everyone. It's so lovely to see all these faces that I've gotten to know over the last couple of months. In November, I was going through a really difficult transition, or I started going through a difficult transition, and my childhood friend, Severa, invited me to come and stay at Dhammadharini. And it was so wonderful to have all these wise women around me supporting me and letting me cry and whatever I needed to do, and giving me teachings like that were actually like something I could do myself to not be in so much suffering all the time, to stop suffering about the suffering. That was a lot of what we were working on. And then I was invited to come for the winter retreat. And I was like, no, that is 3 months is too long. I cannot be out of the world for that long. No, thank you. And then, gradually I was like, oh, I don't know. And Tavira said, time spent on the Dhamma is time you will not regret. And I was like, okay. And it's true. So I took up the very short, and I've been able to spend almost the whole 3 months here at the Hermitage. And I also was not sure I would like being in a forest. I was not sure I would be able to get down with the outhouses, hiking at night to my kuti. And it turned out that I love all of it. And no, I don't love the outhouses, but I love the whole experience of being here and being in nature. And it felt like such a gift to be so safe, physically safe, and then also emotionally safe, especially with Venerable Kachaina here, who's just like steady and was just helped me with like every aspect of my life. I've been able to just bounce off of them, and they're just very calm no matter what I have to say, and very helpful and so kind. And I, in the Nibbana sermons, the part that resonated with me the most was the whirlpool analogy, because I very much feel like I guess I always am, but especially right now, am just kind of churning and kind of always becoming am something else. And that description really worked for me. And I was able to have a week of silence, which I was so grateful for. And they supported me during that. It was so lovely. And it was an emotional roller coaster. You have to sit with your own mind for a week. It is very intense. And on the very first day, I had my own water experience where I went and had a lovely meditation at the creek. And then crossing on the way back, I crashed my knees into rocks. I fell pretty much fully into the creek. I lost my phone. And I was in silence. And so I had to make a decision whether or not to ask for help or whether to try and deal with it on my own. And I decided to try and deal with it on my own. So I got the medicine and the ice packs and took care of myself. And it was like to have the opportunity in a safe way to take care of myself, but to know that I had the support was like really incredible, because it helped me find some of like my own confidence and footing, and feel really safe. So this whole experience for me has been about learning how to feel safe, really. And I just really appreciate Samanari Tveri and Samanari Dharmavara and Ayya Sobhana and Ayya Tathaloka and Venerable Kachina and Morgan and all of the other stewards that have been here. It's seriously just like the most incredible period of my life that I think that it's going to help me like really blossom. And this is like not the end of the retreat, but more like the beginning of what I am going forward. And I really appreciate all of it.
Sadhu, sadhu. Having heard the last two comments, I hope that those who are joining from afar will think of encouraging the right people, if you have among your friends somebody who would like to have the same experience of taking a short-term visit, whether a couple of weeks up to a few months or any length of time, to serve and grow in the Dhamma by being part of a monastic community. This is a possibility, and I think you heard two different examples of how fruitful that kind of experience can be. Now I'm opening up to everybody.
Take just a moment for something that we have prepared
Yes.
for the community.
Okay.
Morgan, are you ready?
Morgan is getting ready.
Okay.
Okay.
This is for you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We have flowers and we have a card.
Here, I'll take the flower.
This is from us. Would you like to read it?
If I can see it. It has a picture of some sandals. And it says, Anumodana, appreciation for Ayya Sobhana for leading this winter retreat in 2022. So thank you very much.
And the
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And for building the platform for the Buddha statue also. May this be a platform for your awakening. Yeah, and now we have another surprise at Aranya Bodhi as well. Kim, welcome to join in. Samanari Tavira, welcome to join in. We have this for Venerable Kachayana. There are flowers on the tray here, and also
Limited resources.
wildflowers are blooming here everywhere. Would you like to read your card?
This says Anumodana to Venerable Kachayana in gratitude for your service as Hermitage Manager and Co-Retreat Manager during Winter Retreat 2022.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bravo, bravo, bravo. Anumodana. Ajahn Brahm says, awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay. Now, with that gratitude and gratitude to everyone else here, we give it back over to you, Ai.
Okay. I'm changing my view so that I can see all of you who have got your picture open. And I'd like to welcome if anybody has any words that they would like to share as far as their report about their impressions or what they took to be the gist for them about this retreat, or anything else that you would like to add. You don't need to talk for 5 or 10 minutes. Even a 1 minute comment would be very welcome and suitable. If you'd like to offer a comment, put your hands in Anjali or use the raise your hand logo to let me know. And when I call on you, unmute yourself. Okay, Barbara, and then Sharon, and then Allison. First, Barbara.
I'm here. I think first, I quickly want to respond to you, Ayya Tathaloka, about talking about not being a lazy Buddhist and being an inspired Buddhist. So I've taken that totally to heart. And thank you for the push towards right effort. I have to say, I just love being with all of you. And, you know, the beauty of being old is since I've met you, I've seen the maturity of your practice, each of you. And that has been a total inspiration. And I've been around long enough that I can really see you in your maturity of your practice and the joy that you offer and the merit that you offer to people like me. And it just makes me very, very glad for you and glad for me and glad for, I don't know, all of us in the world. Yeah. So that, and I really have genuine gratitude. And I say that with full gravity, you know, not lightly. And I'm glad to be among you for whatever, you know, long that is or isn't. In terms of what I took away from the retreat time, much of which I missed, and I don't know enough to talk about it, but the words were purification, relinquishment, and was there another one? Anyway, that's the only, I added renunciation. So that's kind of what the pearl was. And then I would add, I have 3 stories, but I'm not sure if there's time for 3. In terms of my maturity of practice, one night, a homeless man came to my door. In the night, I live alone. We're a bunch of old ladies in senior housing. And he came to the door, I turned on the light and I saw him, and I know some of the homeless people who hang out over there, and I actually helped them. But it was late at night, and there he was. And he said, I need a few dollars to charge my car. And I looked at him, and just very quietly, I said, I'm sorry, I can't help you, and shut the door. And I came back in, and I sat with it. And I said, no, this is not who I want to be. And this is not what the Buddha teaching is. So I took some money out of my wallet. I think I had a $20 bill. And I thought, well, if you're going to give it, give. And I went out into the darkness, and he was over in the parking lot with the library. And I just called, sir, sir. And out of the night, he comes back. And I said, I am honored to give you this. And I just went back in. But it was like, because of my practice, I could go beyond that immediate no. And be in my small way, accepting and generous, again, in my very small way. But that I was my own inspiration. That's the big thing that happened, is that I became my own inspiration. And so I could bow down even to myself. So I won't tell the other stories. I will say that the whole thing of deathless and selfless, and just the dissolving of self, the dissolving of the world. I am not at a state of awareness that I know that yet, but I understand what it might be in terms of whatever is. And so that's the other thing I got from our time together. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak. I don't get to speak these kinds of things except here.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Barbara.
Yes.
Now we'll go Sharon, and after that, Allison, and then Shweta. So don't go away until you've had a chance to give us your words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ayya Sobhana. I have looked forward to each of these retreat days because your message, your teaching have inspired me and encouraged me. And your message today especially will stay with me. Don't give up. Stay the course of your practice. Don't give up.
Right.
And the being able to have the teaching of the Nibbana sermons has been a very rich gift. There were two things that you mentioned in some of your talks. Reduce the burden of the self. I love it.
Yeah.
And if this is a danger to my practice, don't engage. That will continue to help me in day-to-day life. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that share. I'm just going to go straight ahead to Allison.
Thank you all. Thank you, because I'm not down in California, I'm up in Washington, and it has been such a gift to practice with monasteries full of women. It is something we lack up here. And having you all giving your teachings online has been so beautiful. Thank you, Ayya Soba, for the Nibbana sermons, making them available. They are absolutely amazing. I've only read about half of them, and I love your way of going through them, I would also like to do that. But just so very grateful for all of you and your teachings and showing what is possible as women monastics. I'm in this lifetime or another lifetime. That would be my aspiration as well. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Alison. I'll call on Shweta now. Unmute. You're muted. There. Okay.
Vandami to all the venerables. I just wanted to say I'm so grateful and very happy to see so many women monastics. Like you have a community there, which I never came across in India, actually. And to be able to sit in the comfort of my home and be able to see all of this is great. Right? As far as the Nibbana sermons are concerned, the whole Uposatha program, for me personally, the here and now practices are really, I think they've stuck with me, and I think I'm going to carry them on continuously till I can, till the end of my practice, as much as I can. And I really hope that you can actually carry on this Uposatha program even in the future, because it's a great help and it's a great source of strength and inspiration. And we can just, tap in when our own practice is different, to be able to see and hear it. I heard your discourses at times when I was just sitting by myself and I didn't know how to practice further. I was hearing that discourse again and again, and every time I heard it, something new came up, and it just gave us sort of little bit of insight. So it's really helpful that you're doing this, and I hope that you may do this in the future. Even if you don't, it's fine, but I hope that you will really do it. So that's very helpful for all of us. Yeah. And I'm very grateful to all of you. Thank you. That's all I want to say.
I'll just say, in case I don't get a chance to, I'm glad that you found us. And I hope that you might send us a note, send an email. And then I'll try to make sure that we keep you connected so we have a chance for you to be able to participate. We do have at least one a Bhikkhuni friend, more than one really, in India. So it's a precious thing from the homeland of Buddhism that you go all the way across the ocean and come to be with us as we practice in California.
I am very grateful to have found you. I hope if you feel free to come into India, please feel free to get in touch with me. And
Okay.
I'd love to stay connected with you.
Okay.
Please.
Other comments or people would like to share? If we're good.
I think Karen has a hand up.
Oh, Karen, yes, thank you.
Hi. I wanted to do this very badly last year and it didn't happen. And I am so grateful that it did there. Additionally, I don't talk very much because I found Buddhism post-COVID. So I've only done this on the internet and I have not had the opportunity to meet people in real life. And about a week ago, I felt inspired and I sent an email in the form to potentially come and visit when the time is right. But I particularly want to say thank you to Morgan. Seeing Morgan there inspired me to fill out that form. And being in community with you, even all from a distance, is fairly overwhelming right now. So thank you.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you for those kind words. Yeah.
There was a note in the chat. There's a note in the chat from Mudita.
Oh, Mudita, thank you. I'll read off this note and then I'll call on Ananaya. Mudita wrote, "Thank you for a life-changing study, especially with the camaraderie and positive influences, the deeper meaning of and proliferation of thoughts and actions. Sadhu. To all the venerables and practitioners who are dedicated to the study of Dhamma and its ramifications." So thank you for those very kind words. We appreciate it so much. Anana.
Well, my time during this retreat time didn't turn out at all what I thought it would be. I ended up having to take care of more personal things and some medical things. So it was not as, well, it was what it was. And I'm grateful for that. And I had occasion to go down to the monastery a couple of times during this period. And I have to say, especially after Dhammadharini shared, I really miss being in the meditation hall. So I look forward to someday when we will actually be able to return, because I realized that, I'm so grateful that we have that Zoom arrived right at the right time and that we're able to do this. It's just been absolutely marvelous. And I'm very, very grateful for that. And I really, really miss the sense of being with a group of practitioners in a hall. And unfortunately, this year I was supposed to go back to Forest Refuge. And because of COVID and again, a few medical things, it's like, and bowing to that I am getting that much older, I had to decline it. And I'm still in mourning over not having been able to go away for that period and adjusting to current realities. Anyway, I'm glad that all of you had the opportunity and that you are all just look really, really well and happy, and how important that is as a holding of a space, a holding of an ideal, and that we get to participate in that and support you in that is really quite marvelous. I am grateful to all of you for your practice. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I have to say that Anana exemplifies this motto, don't give up. She is a practitioner who is not giving up. And we hope that, all of us will be able to do that. Mudita.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Great. Just two things. I would like to say that I got a deeper meaning of papancha, i.e. the proliferation of thoughts.
Yeah.
I have been actively practicing to withdraw from those thoughts as they continue, like a whirlpool. And undoubtedly, I have quieted my mind a lot. I didn't realize you think of one thing, let's say like the war in Ukraine, then you think of something else, and how these thoughts build on each other. And so lately I've been practicing, no, that's a thought, let it go. And it has quieted my mind quite a bit. So I appreciate that deeper understanding. Sometimes you know that there's something missing in the practice. I'm sure I'll find more things that are missing, but that is definitely one of them. And it has helped my practice quite a bit. The last thing is that I realize that the definition of the nibbana is not necessarily what it is, it's what it is not.
Yes.
And that's one of my biggest lessons in studying the Nibbana sermons. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu for this wonderful sharing. Now, I think we're coming up to our final blessing. I want to open back up for Ayya Tathaloka.
Yes, now is the time for dedication. And I'd like to invite you all to join in with me together. The Dhamma is a real gift, and this practice is a real gift. And I'd like to think now about sharing the gift with everyone. The blessings of this gift to all of our teachers, all of our benefactors, our preceptors, those who have been an inspiration to us, those who have been a guide or luminaries to us, or who have helped us in ways small and large. Also to our parents who have given us life, given us birth, and our relatives going back even through our grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents back through 7 generations. As is mentioned in the sutta, that our body comes from them. And we can also, with what we do with this body and mind, we can share blessings back to them. And for everyone who has supported us emotionally, spiritually, morally, mentally, and physically, in every kind of way, we want to share blessings, especially to everyone with Dhammadharini Support Foundation and the stewardship organization of our Dhammadharini Bhikkhunis community, all those who are on committees, all those who are volunteers, all those who are contributors in so many ways. You know, now this being the last day of the month, this is the day that we determined we would remember all of the anonymous donors. So I want to especially remember not only all those donors that we know about, but all the anonymous contributors. And I want to recognize also that there are many who have taken a dedication to practice together with us during this time, whose faces we can't see here right now. They might even be watching live on YouTube or watching a few minutes, a few hours later, or just to have determined to practice together and follow the teaching during this time. So I want to remember all of you, all of them, and our whole greater community around the entire world. Also, all of our guardian angels, in devas, all those who are perfect in passing the Dhamma down to us, all those who have practiced and woken up. We need such beings in our world. We need them. To know about them from the past is a great inspiration. We need also to be able to see them. And so doing the work of our own hearts is properly and rightly selfish or selfless in one way. And in another way, it's so important in our world to be able to see and know there's the presence of those who are waking up and to decrease their delusion and increase their insight and their wisdom and their skillfulness. I'd like to ask Seminary Tavira now to help me in holding this. I'm going to pour out the water and invite anyone who would like to make a dedication to any of your relatives or ancestors or anyone, whether human or not human, living or passed away or still to be born. You're welcome to join in this dedication together. And welcome those here to chant with me. Yatha varivaha pura paripurendi sagaram evamewa itodinam Chetanang upakapati ichitang patitang tumhang kipamewa samijatum sabe chando panarasotirapo yatham
Sabitiyo vivachantu Sabarogo vinasatu Mate avatmantarayo Sukhi dikayuko bhava Abhivadanasi sanichang utapachayino Jataro dhamma vadanti ayuvanno sukham
Balaratana tayanupavena
Ratana tayate jasa dukaro kapaya vera soka satujupadawa aneka antaraya vinasantu ase sato jayasi kanang lapa Soti bhagayang sukham balam Siri ayu jawanno jabogam mudi jayasawa Satawa saja ayu jajiwa siti Bhavantu te
Bhavantu sabhamangkalam
Rakantu sabadevata Sababhutanupavena Saddhammanupavena Sabbasankhanupavena Sattasoti Bhavantu te.
May you have every good blessing.
May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Buddhas. May you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Dhamma. May you ever be well. May you have every good blessing. May all the devas protect you by the power of all the Sangha. May you ever be well.
Now let us chant the verses of sharing and aspiration.
Through the goodness that arises from our practice, may our spiritual teachers and guides of great virtue, our mothers, our fathers, and our relatives, the sun and the moon, and all virtuous leaders of the world, may the highest devas and evil forces, celestial beings, guardians of the earth and the land, may those who are friendly, may all beings receive the blessings of our lives. May they soon attain the threefold bliss and realize the deathless. Through the goodness that arises from our practice, and through this act of sharing, may all desires and attachments quickly cease, and all harmful states of mind, until we realize Nibbana in every kind of birth.
May we have upright minds, with mindfulness and wisdom, austerity and vigor. May the forces of delusion not take hold, nor weaken our resolve. The Buddha is the Dhamma. The solitary Buddha is our noble Lord. The Sangha is our supreme support. Through the supreme power of all these, may darkness and delusion be dispelled. Araham Samma Bhagawantan Abhivati Bhagavato Bhagavata Dhammasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
Thank you, everybody, for your patient listening and for your participation in this whole retreat. Please mark your calendar and look at our website. On April 17 is the inauguration of our new outside meditation pavilion, the Dana Sala, April 17th. And then on May 14 is Vesak, Buddha's birthday. So you can look out for information and think about participating in one of those events, whether it be in person or still in Zoom, since we're in this transitional time. So we'll sign off now. Thank you all.